Forbidden Bites, the 10 most banned foods in the world. Food is more than just sustenance. It's an expression of identity, tradition, and innovation. It connects us to our roots, to our families, and to the essence of the places we call home. But in some cases, certain foods are deemed too dangerous, too controversial, or too destructive to allow on our plates. Behind the taste of indulgence lies a web of heated debates, deadly risks, and ethical dilemmas. In this documentary, we embark on a journey to uncover the fascinating stories of the 10 most banned foods in the world. Some of these forbidden bites evoke nostalgia among those fighting to keep their traditions alive. Others illustrate the darker costs of indulgence on health, ecosystems, and morality. Prepare to explore the tension between culture and regulation, the often overlooked contradictions of food policies, and to question the price we pay for what's on our plates. What could make a flavorful delicacy illegal? The reasons vary widely, from public safety and environmental preservation to cultural taboos and ethical concerns. Some foods are banned for their inherent risks, like poisonous toxins or potential health consequences. Others face prohibition as part of larger battles over animal rights or protecting endangered species. And in some cases, bureaucracy, tradition, or even politics create contradictions about what's fair and foul. Food is a battleground where the past and present collide, and nowhere is this more evident than in the stories of these forbidden dishes. Now let's uncover the top 10 most banned foods from around the world. We start with a Japanese dish infamous for its deadly potential, fugu, or blowfish. Renowned for its delicate flavor, this fish harbors an almost mythical danger. Laced with tetrodotoxin, a poison 1,200 times more lethal than cyanide, fugu can kill within hours if improperly prepared. In Japan, chefs undergo rigorous training to master the art of serving fugu safely. Yet, fatalities still occur, prompting multiple countries to outright ban the dish. This raises a chilling question. How much risk is too much for the sake of culinary thrill? Raw milk is hailed by some as a source of unmatched nutritional value. Advocates argue that pasteurization strips milk of its natural benefits. But regulators in countries, including the United States, claim the opposite, that unpasteurized milk is a breeding ground for bacteria like E. coli and Salmonella. For enthusiasts, raw milk symbolizes purity. For authorities, it's a ticking time bomb. This battle between tradition and safety encapsulates the dilemma of food bans worldwide. Where should regulators draw the line? Originating from Jamaica, ackee is a prized national fruit with a deadly twist. When unripe, the fruit contains hypoglycin, a chemical so toxic it can induce fatal vomiting sickness. Strict import restrictions make ackee a rarity in many countries, leaving Jamaicans abroad yearning for its unique flavor. When food contains such inherent dangers, is the risk worth preserving a piece of cultural identity? Foie gras, a French delicacy, epitomizes opulence, rich, buttery, and creamy. Yet, behind its luxury lies a practice deemed inhumane by critics: the force-feeding of ducks and geese to enlarge their livers. Banned in places like California and even entire countries like India, foie gras stirs a fiery debate between culinary preservation and animal welfare. Chefs insist it's an irreplaceable tradition, while activists demand an end to the cruelty. Is preserving tradition reason enough for such a high moral cost? Shark fin soup has long signified wealth and respect in Chinese banquets. But the method of obtaining fins, delicate by appearance but rooted in violence, has rendered this dish illegal in nations around the globe. The image of sharks tossed, finless, back into the ocean to die drives home the environmental cost of the soup's inclusion on banquet tables. Even in places where the soup remains legal, its consumption faces growing backlash. What does it say about humanity when a bowl of soup could spell an entire species' doom? Hailing from Sardinia, Italy, casu marzu, or maggot cheese, is made by allowing live fly larvae to ferment the cheese. This traditional delicacy is beloved by locals, but health regulators banned it due to the risks of infection and toxicity. For Sardinians, however, casu marzu's ban feels like an assault on cultural heritage. It brings to light an important question. Should laws outlaw risky traditions, or should people be trusted to make their own choices? Turtle soup, long a symbol of refinement, faces bans in multiple countries due to its connection to the illegal hunting of endangered species. Turtles are poached ruthlessly to satisfy culinary demand, destabilizing ecosystems worldwide. For environmentalists, the ban sends a message of responsibility. For those who grew up enjoying turtle soup, it symbolizes a loss of their culinary patrimony. In South Asia, pan, often made with betel nut, is a social ritual, a bite consumed with friends or as a post-meal refreshment. But its carcinogenic qualities have prompted bans in parts of the world, including the Gulf states. For millions, the betel nut is tied to identity and nostalgia. For policymakers, it's a preventable health crisis. How far should bans intrude into the traditions of millions? This next entry may surprise you. Kinder Surprise eggs, a favorite among children, are banned in the United States, not for the chocolate, but for their hidden toy, which poses a choking hazard. While the ban might seem overzealous, it underscores the complexity of food laws worldwide. What might seem harmless in one land is forbidden outright in another. Certain foods reveal a deep contradiction in global regulations. Horse meat, for instance, symbolizes nourishment in some countries and moral offense in others. Similar contradictions arise with raw cheese, coffee made from animal droppings, and even street food. These inconsistencies raise larger questions about the universality of food standards. Do bans stem from logic, or are they guided by cultural bias? And when laws clash with identity, who should decide what stays on the menu? The battle over banned foods isn't just legal, it's personal. In interviews, chefs lament the vanishing art of traditional delicacies, while activists highlight the suffering caused by indulgence. Farmers speak of losing their livelihoods to regulations, and consumers grapple with the ethics of their cravings. These voices remind us that food isn't black and white. It's a deeply personal, yet global, issue. Banned foods often give rise to black markets. Whether it's shark fins or unpasteurized milk, restriction fuels demand. When something is deemed off-limits, it becomes a symbol of rebellion. Illegal food markets serve as a stark reminder. Can bans truly curb consumption, or do they simply drive it underground? As globalization broadens access to once rare ingredients, the fight over food bans feels more urgent than ever. What food traditions deserve protection, and which must be left behind? What's the ethical limit of indulgence? Beyond palate and politics, banned foods push us to think deeply about our relationship with nature, animals, and each other. We began with a question: how can something that sustains us ever become forbidden? The answer lies in the stories behind these foods, stories of heritage, risk, and moral choices. As we conclude, we ask you to reflect. What foods define your identity and culture? What lengths would you go to preserve them, or to protect the world from them? The forbidden bites on this list may never reach your plate, but their stories are food for thought. What's your place in this global conversation?